Hello and welcome to part 3 of our course, How to Cultivate Habits so you can put your success on autopilot. And I tell you, we humans are creatures of habits, and success can become habitual. Remember what we've said about habits. The bad ones are easy to form and they make life difficult. The good ones are sometimes difficult to form and they make life easy. So we've been discussing how to cultivate habits. We said first, you got to identify the habits that do not enhance your success. 2, identify the reward that you get from the habit. Thirdly, identify a more positive way to get the same reward. 4, identify the trigger for the old habit. What is it that triggers the desire, to do the old habit? And then we said, identify the routine action you take after the trigger. So what do? Is it that you eat something or you do something, or you go on social media or you reach out for your phone? What's the routine action once the trigger kicks in? And then identify the new action that you want to take. Identify the new action. So this is where the real big deal is, because actually the root of every human action is a thought. So that's where we've got to fix it from. That's why we're going through this. So you identify the action that you take once the trigger comes in. What's the habit? Identify the action you would like to take, differently. The new action you desire to take. Next, and this is a big step, you will write a statement. And it goes like this. When I feel dash, I will dash. When I feel dash, when I feel like doing the old trigger, I will do the new action. Right? Okay. When I feel like going on social media, I will pick a book. See what I mean? And you need to write it and read it to yourself over and over and over and over and over. Why? So that when it's in there, you don't need to go read it. The moment the trigger comes and you want to do the old habit, your mind will supply to you this information, right? And then you can act on it. So, when I feel like dash, I will dash. When I feel like doing this, I will do that. When I feel like smoking a stick of cigarette, I will do this. When I feel like this, I will that. Okay? Write that out. And then next, practice for at least 21 days. Practice for at least 21 days. They say that's how long it takes for us to cultivate a habit. That if we do something consistently for 21 days, it will become second nature. Now, some people have tried, they've done something for 21 days and, something did not change dramatically. I'll tell you, it also depends on how long you've been on the old habit, right? It depends a lot on how long you've been on the old habit. I mean, if you've been doing something for 40 years, you may not be surprised if it doesn't change in 21 days. You may have to do it for 30 days. You may have to do it for 40 days, right? So the longer it is that you've practiced the old habit, sometimes the longer it takes to change it. So I would say practice for at least 21 days. Just keep on doing it anyway until it becomes auto. It puts you on autopilot, becomes second nature. So when I feel like doing this, I will do that. I remember I had to write my affirmation statement. So what was the habit I was trying to crack? Procrastination. Okay, procrastination. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. And then it gets more difficult and it gets complicated. So I had to identify that. What was the feeling, that I got from procrastination? Relief. I was trying to avoid stress, right? Because I don't like stress. And then when it says, identify a more positive way to get the same reward. Well, I found out my life became less stressful when I got things out of the way. Okay? And just do it. Do it. Remember what we said? You do the difficult things first, things get easier from there. Okay? So I had to switch. And the new action was to do it so that I could get the relief. See? What I was looking for, I had to admit, even though on the temporary I got the relief from stress, on the long run, my life got complicated. When I was coming close to deadlines, I overran deadlines, and the emotional trauma was much. Okay, the price I was paying was too high. So I found out actually that taking it out of the way actually brought greater relief. That's amazing, isn't it? So I remember I wrote, do it now. Do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now. That's the new action that I was going to take. I wrote it 1,000 times. I just repeated it, on a plain sheet of paper, and I was saying it as I was writing it. Do it now, 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 do it now. Because what happens here is when you reprogram yourself like that, whenever the trigger comes in and you want to practice the old habit, your mind supplies, like a billboard, just flashes to you, the statement. And then it's up to you. Then you can exercise your will and do what you want to do. So I find out whenever I want to procrastinate, the statement just comes up. Do it now. Okay? Just do it now. Of course, that doesn't mean that it is every idea that comes to me that I do now. I have to categorize. Some things need to wait till later. But the most important things, they've got to be done now. All right. I'd like to suggest some success habits for us to cultivate. Habits of successful people. Highly successful people for that matter. Number one, meditation. Meditation. You've got to allot time to thinking. See, it's the way our world works. People have researched successful people for years, and they've come to the conclusion that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. You don't rise beyond the quality of your thoughts. I tell people, if you are too busy to think, you're too busy to succeed. The place where you move this world is in your mind. Whatever thoughts become dominant in your heart or mind, if they stay there long enough, they attract their material equivalent into your life, or they produce their material equivalent. It's a law. So you've got to have time to think. Not just to think on the surface, but to think deeply. You've got to have time to dream. You've got to have time to play scenarios in your imagination. Remember, it is in your imagination that you overcome your limitations. People think that the place where one person gets ahead of the other is in real life. It's when they get the money or when they buy the car. Oh, no. The place where you get ahead first is inside. Success is an internal trip. You've got to have time for that. Okay? So I encourage meditation. I encourage dreaming, to the point where you get insights, you have aha moments, okay? You get flashes of inspiration, you get ideas. All right, we'll conclude this at the next session.